Questions for my Yoruba brothers. Baba Femi Ojodu speaks. We must complain. Yes, plain, blunt complain. Peaceful, ceaseless agitation. Unfailing exposure of dishonesty and wrong. This is the ancient, unerring way to liberty, and we must follow it. W.E.B. Du Bois. War is what happens when language fails. Margaret Atwood. Nothing in the world is harder than speaking the truth and nothing easier than flattery. Fyodor Dostoevsky. From the outlets, let me be clear. I abhor violence and reject war in all its forms. Yet, I staunchly believe in protest and dissent as cornerstone of a democratic society. I have lived this truth, endured detention and deprivations for it, and will continue to advocate my freedom and a free spirit until my last breath. Since turning 18, I have participated in countless protests, always peacefully and never resorting to violence. I have marched alongside notable Nigerians such as the indefatigable lawyer Chief Gani Fawahimi and the eloquent and urban advocate for democracy and good governance, Mr. Lao Basharu, elders like Chief Tony Enahoro, Wale Soyinka, Baba Omojola, and Dr. Frederick Fashion have shared the streets of Lagos with my generation, standing firm against injustices, often facing tear gas and state violence. At this time, the current president and some of his closest associates have been vocal in encouraging us to protest against hardship, injustice, and poor governance. As allies, we have mobilized young men and women to decry rigged elections and perceived thefts of national resources. The Yoruba people to whom I proudly belong have historically led the charge against colonialism, local oppression, and military brutality and corruption. In recent times, if other ethnic groups hesitated to speak out, the Yoruba will courageously stand up, voice the dissent, and face the consequences. This legacy, inherited from the leaders of the First Republic, who boldly opposed colonial masters and their local collaborators, must not be forgotten. It is why figures like Chief Obafemi Awolowo and Fumilayo Ransome-Kuti were seen as threats by colonial authorities and faced various indignities. It is why Wole Soyinka, Tai Folarin, Fela Anikulapo Kuti, Femi Falana, and others were imprisoned, and why leaders like Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Jane Alani, Akinrinade, and Dr. Amos Akingba went into exile to continue the agitation against Sani Abacha's regime. What has changed? Yes, we now have a civilian government, but does this mean that the issues we protested against have vanished and we now live in an ideal society? Absolutely not. Even under this so-called democracy, our leaders now in power have sometimes called for protests against policies during the presidencies of Chief Olusegun Obasanjo and Dr. Goodluck Jonathan. Some have even shared Niger Delta agitators after they protested by attacking pipelines. Now I pose this question to my Yoruba brothers. Many of them share the struggle with me. What has changed? Is it because we now have a Yoruba president that dissent must cease, and those who oppose the current leader must be labeled as dangerous, troublemakers, and foreign invaders? We often profess to be Christians and Muslims, yet some are now resorting to traditional rites and mystical practices such as Oro and Agemo to prevent peaceful gatherings in states like Yaba and Tinubu Square. We are deploying hate against fellow Nigerians while those we serve hoard wealth in banks owned by the Igbos, so we hate and award lucrative contracts to those who were told to despise, all because they do not want their fellow Yorubas to know their secret haste. They have always been those who misuse protests for their power. Alright, they must have always been those who misuse protests for their gain, and they will always be. This is why we should have law enforcement who should be trained and equipped to manage such situations, ensuring public safety and protecting property. Using money and fear to suppress dissent, especially when it is our turn to wield power and be counterproductive, we are fostering hate and alienating other ethnic groups, demonizing people who have been our neighbors, classmates, and fellow citizens. We must remember that power, the feeling, Today is your turn, but tomorrow it will be someone else. The maximum tenure for any leader is 8 years, unless we are now advocating for life presidency. When it is someone else's turn, they just retaliate against our children. All right. The maximum tenure for any leader is 8 years, unless we are now advocating for life presidencies. When it is someone's turn and they retaliate against our children, who were in power, we will still be able to protest. Life is a continuum, and future leaders may come from unexpected places, may come from who could you have imagined Donald Trump leading America? Yet today he embodies rhetoric reminiscent of darker times in history. Many of my friends in America are more troubled by the prospect of his return of power. Okay, yet today they embodies rhetoric reminiscent of darker times in history. Many of my friends in America are troubled by the prospect of his return to power. If a leader is akin to Sani Abacha were to rise in Nigeria, would we, the Yorubas, still have the courage to speak out against injustice, corruption, and nepotism? I know that after this is published, there will be a backlash, as there has been in the past. I know that after this is published, all right. I know that after this published, there will be backlash as there has been in the past, but these attacks will not deter me. Like water off a dog's back, some of us have the courage to speak out, not just for today, but for tomorrow. We must not pass down a legacy of complicacy, ethnic baiting, or blind loyalty to future generations. This is not the heritage Awolowo and his contemporaries are left to us, not with Wole Soyinka exalting his writings and activism. It is not the lesson taught, or the many others who inspired our generation of activists. Leaders are not always wrong, just as agitators are not always right. True. However, the right to voice one opinion must be preserved in any democracy. Also correct. Especially one that seeks progress, as Soyinka so powerfully reminded us. The man dies in awe who keeps silence in the face of tyranny. Baba Femi Ojodu. Okay, I think I've said that. Okay, I think I've actually seen that. That is not even the problem. The way Zibo use extremely derogatory words, we're not talking about that now. Only the gullible outside Yoruba land would take you serious. You stood against your benefactor and you publicly said Buhari will never hand over to Tinubu because you know the dig hole, you dig deep for presidency as far as an advisor to Buhari. Alright. On this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen until I come your way next time. Enjoy the rest of your day.